Hello everybody and welcome to another IELTS Learning Tips video. And today I'm going to be looking at writing and specifically task 2 and generating ideas, which is a topic that a lot of people recently have been posting about and asking me about. So I just wanted to show you how you can quickly brainstorm the topic when you see it and then look at your ideas and pick out the best ones to actually write your essay. So my name's Bernie Wall, if you haven't met me before, and I'm an IELTS trainer and teacher, and I specialise in working with students at band 7 and 8, and specifically with students who've taken the exam a few times and haven't managed to get the scores that they need at that level. Okay. So let's move on. I've prepared some notes on a PowerPoint as usual, and we'll go through those together and I'll explain something about how you can come up very quickly with ideas. So this is called brainstorming the question. And it's quite important to do it to get the ideas, but it also helps you to make sure that you're answering the right question. Because quite frequently when I'm looking at students writing, and also when I was an examiner, which is a while ago now, but you would often find somebody's answer was answering a different question to the one that was actually set. So it's important to go through this process to make sure you've got the right ideas and that you can express them according to the question that you are given and not some other question that might be in your head. Okay, so first of all, generating ideas should be part of your planning. So when you're doing your writing in practice, you should make this brainstorming and planning part of the work that you do, because the more you do it, the more automatic it will become. And then when you get into the exam, you will just do it straight away because you're used to doing it, and it will give you a much better outcome. So always go through the whole process when you're doing the writing. It helps you to focus on the question because not only do you need to know the topic, but you also need to know what aspect of the topic is being asked. And it's important to choose ideas that you are able to provide support and evidence for. So you might come up with some ideas that are wonderful, but you don't really know how you can give an example or how you can provide some evidence, in which case those ideas are going to be quite weak and they won't give you a good task too. Okay, so the first thing to do, obviously, is to read the question carefully. So what kind of question is it? And by that I mean, is it a discussion? And there are lots and lots of students who try to make every question a discussion, and not every question follows that pattern. So by discussion, it will be some people believe this, other people believe that, discuss both views and give your opinions. So you're looking at two sides of a topic, and you have to do both sides. But not all questions are of that type. A lot are, but not all. So you need to be very careful. Other question types are to present problems and then give solutions, or look at advantages and disadvantages, or to agree or disagree to a certain extent. Now, some of those require your opinion. And others are more objective, where you just have to assess a situation and say whether it's good or bad, or say what some problem solution, for example, is quite an objective question, where you look at certain problems associated with a topic, and then your job is to come up with some solutions that will alleviate or deal with those problems. Okay, and this is what it's asking you to do. So if it's asking you to what extent do you agree, you don't need to worry about writing two sides of the argument. You can address both sides, but you always have to think about how they relate to your opinion. If it's a problem solution, don't talk about what some people think and other people think. That's not what you're being asked to do. Okay, then what's the topic? Because here there are two things. There are exactly what it's asking you to do, discuss, agree, present solutions, etc. And then there's the general topic, which could be the environment, education, health, etc., etc. And what is the thrust of the topic? So is there a specific aspect of education? Is there a specific aspect of health that they are asking you about? It will be a specific aspect that you're asked to consider. Okay, and then you generate ideas. So here's a typical topic. It is discuss both views and give an opinion, and it's talking about punishment and prison. So some people believe that punishment is the only purpose of prisons, while others believe that prisons exist for various reasons. So, i.e., not just punishment. So immediately we think about this is about putting people in prison for the fact that they've done something wrong. Okay. And we're asked about why we should do that. What are the reasons behind putting people in prison when they do something wrong? And one aspect of the question is to punish them. So some people believe that the reason for putting people in prison is punishment, to punish them. But there are others who have a different point of view. And this could be that they want to reform them. They want to help them turn their lives around and not do these bad things again. Okay, so if we look at both aspects of that, so let's say the one side that wants punishment only, and think about if you do it in these simple terms, it's easy to understand and come up with reasons. So one reason could be to stop them doing it again, to stop others doing it, protect society, which is all important, especially if you're a government. It could be justice for the victim or justice for society. Governments need to be seen to give justice. It could stop vigilantes. That means it could stop other people who take the law into their own hands if they don't think that the lawyers are doing a good job. It's also a sign of a strong government, perhaps, if they have strong reactions to people who do wrong things. And going on from that, if you have a strong government, it will help them to stay in power because people will want them to continue to rule that particular country. So those are some reasons for just having prisons for punishment only. If we take the other side of the argument, which is for reform and change, then we can have some other ideas. So one big thing would be to change behavior, to reform people. You can also provide therapy and counseling to help those people who are put in prison, because there must be some reason for them doing these bad things. So maybe if you can help them find out the reason or resolve the problem, then they won't do this again. It's a good thing to provide some education and skills, because quite often people who commit crime haven't got enough education, or they haven't got skills that will enable them to work and be a valuable member of society. So this is a good place to try and help them to get these things. Maybe they are in trouble because they don't have a good life, because they have problems in their life and their families have problems. So maybe you can help them to improve their situation generally, so that when they finish their prison sentence, they will become again a good member of society. And finally, if you do these things, then it shows a good example to society. And if you compare it with the government above, which would be strong, here you have a government that's more compassionate and wants to help people, which is also a good thing for getting votes. Okay, so a compassionate government is also a good thing. Okay, this is a brain dump. We're just throwing down everything we can think of. We won't use everything because you're only asked for 250 words. I would say 250 to 290 words. So you can't possibly write about all those things. Pick the ones that you can support, the ones that you can give some evidence for, the ones that you might be able to give an example for. And pick those things that complement each other. So perhaps there's something in the punishment side that you can refute in the one that in the second paragraph, if that's the one you agree with, or vice versa. But this is not your plan. As you can see, that would not be helpful as a plan because it's just a whole list of ideas. And if you wrote it like that, you would not have time to organize it properly or to give the right amount of information. So it's not going to be very helpful in that format. And you're going to have to organize your brainstorm into a better kind of plan that's going to help you. So I've done that here. So first of all, we decide people have different views. And then you've got the first group of people and the second group of people and your opinion. So in this case, I'm agreeing with the people who choose reform. Okay. Now, paragraph 1, remember, these are the people who agree that punishment is the only reason. So here are the points. Firstly, public safety. We need to punish because otherwise people would be fearful. Here's an example. Sex offenders and murderers, they don't want them living in their area. Strict laws are expected. Crime decreasing is expected from government. And making it punishment related would be a deterrent to the offender, and they would be too scared to commit another crime. So we've got quite a few ideas in there to explore. And here's another example that some countries have a death penalty, which is the ultimate deterrent. Okay, in paragraph 2, we're going to talk about the other people. So they believe in education because this will help people not to do bad things again. For example, in juvenile detention, where you've got young people, it's important to create a different environment for them so that they can become a better citizen. There's a big opportunity for that. There is a chance for reform during a prison sentence, and to have lots of people help that person. And in conclusion, prison serves a different purpose to punishment. So I would then expand that. It's not just for punishment, because there are many opportunities to turn people's lives around and change the situation. Okay, so I hope you can see how that brainstorm now translates into a useful plan. And your job now is to take each of those points and create good full sentences. Some of them will be complex sentences using linking words, and you can join it all together far more easily than from the list of just ideas. And if you do it like this, far from taking a lot of time, it will be far easier to write. And I find that even if you spend 10 minutes on a plan like this, you should easily be able to write it up in in another 10 minutes, if not less. So you're going to have, you have 40 minutes for this. So you should be able to write it up in about 15 minutes, which still leaves you time to check. And that's what's important. Okay, So let me just come back. That's all I wanted to say. I hope that that's helpful, but please try and get an outline that will help you to keep on track with your writing, so that as you're writing, you are focusing more on language and less on your ideas. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.